Good evening, Crimson Tide Nation, and welcome to the 31st edition of Alabama Primetime Live from Alabama with the Voice of College Football. Yours truly, Jackson Johnson. I will be joined by Coach Smook in a little bit. He is running late due to traffic, and I think the rain is messing around with him. But let's be honest, the rain is messing around with us. But we are here to discuss the Alabama-Missouri preview with a special guest from On3. And let me tell you something, folks, you're going to be in for a wild ride. But first, we've got the merch store of Alabama at the Voice of College Football, where you've got magic all over the place. You've got the trucker hat, the dad hat, the t-shirt, the sweatshirt, the heavyweight t-shirt, the polo, the game day mug, the tumbler, the can cooler, everything. All right here from Alabama at the Voice College Football. All right there. Tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at Publix about the magic that it's creating. All of it. But if there's something that you would like to get, but it's not there, tell Mark Rogers at MarkRogersTV at gmail.com or voiceofcollegefootball at gmail.com. And I guarantee you there will be some merch that you would like to see on this merch store added onto here. And he is the senior editor of Mizzou Today from On3. The one and only himself, Kyle McAravey. How you doing today, good buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How you doing today, man?
Oh, it's just getting through. Looking forward to a big football Saturday. That's for sure.
Oh man, it's just gonna be a wild ride, man. Like I tell you what, like it's just gonna be fun.
Yeah, man. I agree. I think I think this is easily the closest the talent level's been between Mizzou and Alabama since Mizzou joined the conference, and I think that's more Mizzou climbing up toward Alabama's level than anything else. So yeah, I think it should be a pretty legitimate game this weekend in Columbia.
Oh, no doubt, man. It's gonna be fun. But you know, been looking at Missouri this season, and I am kind of curious to see, like, from after this unbeaten start that you guys have had, you had a close win against Kansas. You're able to get by against South Carolina. Yeah, you beat UMass, but everybody beats UMass in Central Arkansas and Louisiana.
Yeah.
But you got this bye week. What are the strengths and the weaknesses we need to look out for? And what are the position battles we need to be looking out for Alabama, Missouri?
I think the main strength for Mizzou, the Tigers spend a lot of focus on running the ball and stopping the run. That's Eli Drinkwitz talks about it all the time. Those are the two things they really want to be successful at. And so far this year, they've been very successful at both. And like you said, it's been a pretty easy schedule. I think Mizzou's, according to ESPN, like 105th in strength of schedule through the first 6 weeks now. The rest of the way, the strength of schedule is, I think, 7th. So, it's just kind of a flip or a switch that's getting flipped here as you get out of this bye week into the second half of the season, where it all gets much tougher and you really actually find out what Mizzou's good at this point. I will say I do buy that they can run the ball. They're gonna do it as much as they think as much as they want to. And they've been really good at stopping the run. I mean, even with a relatively easy schedule, Kansas and South Carolina are both generally good running teams, especially at the quarterback spot. And Mizzou was able to stop the run for both of them very effectively.
Well, I will say, they are going to have to keep an eye on the run game for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Because, I mean, I know like a lot of people have just been down on the running game of the Crimson Tide, but it's like they didn't look at the stats. Like the running game for Alabama has gotten better and better each week, including last week's victory over Vanderbilt, where Jam Miller's just pounding and grounding on that Vandy defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be more of a test for Mizzou's defense than they've experienced so far this year in the run game specifically and across all phases, honestly. So we'll see. I mean, Mizzou's defense, I can't remember the exact number, but it's something like they're averaging about a yard per carry since the start of week 2, except for one explosive run given up at the end of the first half in week 3. If you include that run, it's like 1.7 yards per carry, something like that. Yeah, I mean, the last 4 games, the run defense has been astounding to the point of holding South Carolina to, I think, less than -10 or about -9 maybe yards on the ground. That's helped by sacks, of course. But I think even if you take out the sack adjusted numbers, it was like 16 rushing yards allowed, something like that. Um, and, it's just been a big surprise, I think, because I wasn't expecting Mizzou's run defense to be this good. Last year, that was kind of the weakness on the defense, and they made a lot of changes to really strengthen that unit.
Well, and a good buddy of ours of Alabama with the Voice of College Football, Sports Talk with Austin, wants to know, how is the secondary playing this season?
Not as good. That's the weakness so far this year. It didn't come up much in the 3 cupcake games. Central Arkansas, Louisiana, UMass. It's just not going to be that much of an issue. They're not going to be able to throw the ball that effectively against an SEC defense. And especially, I think Mizzou held Louisiana to about 6 passing yards, but that's because the Tigers could just line up man coverage every play and just know that their corners, their safeties were just better athletes, bigger, faster, stronger than anyone that they were going against, right? That's not going to be the case in any game going forward. They're not just going to be able to go out there and line up man coverage every play and expect that to work. And the issues so far this season, especially against Kansas and South Carolina, have come in zone coverage. They've been generally communication issues where usually a safety has gotten caught with their eyes in the backfield, trying to watch those rushing quarterbacks, like we mentioned in Jalen Daniels and Lenore Sellers. And, maybe it's just one step in the wrong direction, one step in instead of back, because you're worried about a quarterback kind of break and contain. And that leaves a receiver, who a corner thought he was passing off to a safety is now wide open, a step behind his defender. And that's, that led to, I think it was 3 or 4 pretty explosive plays against South Carolina. A couple of them against Kansas. Should have been another couple in both of those games because of drops or missed passes. So that secondary has really been an issue. And it was one of the main focuses for the Tigers during the bye week, was really getting that communication kind of locked down.
Yeah, I mean, like Jalen Daniels, like he was having a great game against that Missouri defense in week 2, and it was like I often think to myself, man, how did Kansas lose that one? It's like there's no way.
It was really is a weird game because you look at it and Kansas got up about, I think it was 21-6. Mizzou went down, scored on the first drive, looked simple. I mean, the defense came out first, immediate stop, forced a punt, and just cruised down the field for a touchdown. And after those, first drive for each team, I was thinking like, man, this is going to be dominant Mizzou performance. And then Kansas scored 21 unanswered points, helped by a fumble return for a touchdown. And it's 21-6 at the end of the first quarter. And you're thinking, man, maybe this is a dominant Kansas game. And then Mizzou, I think it ended 42-31. So outscored them 36-10 the rest of the way, because like a large part, like I was saying, running the ball and stopping the run. Mizzou was just dominant on the ground throughout the game. And that led to a wearing down of Kansas's defense and just continued opportunities, throughout the third and fourth quarter. And I think especially if you look at the stats, you really look into that game. Yeah, Kansas was up 21-6, but Mizzou outgained them by more than double. I think it was like 500 some total yards to 240 or so. I just about doubled them up in time of possession. I mean, rushing yard difference was wild. Like all of the statistical markers that you would look at if you just blocked off the score up top, you would say Mizzou dominated that game.
Yeah.
Except there was a fumble recovery for a touchdown and Kansas hit on a couple of explosive plays. And that really kept that game close for a long time and had Kansas out front early.
Oh man. But I will say it's gonna be a good one. How's that Missouri defensive line looking for this season? Like, can they are they gonna be putting some scares in the tie? I hope from my side they don't, but do they look like that kind of team that can?
I think so. Damon Wilson and Zion Young are the two primary defensive ends, and they're both top 5 in total pressures this season across the country, not just SEC. So, they've looked very good, but again, that's against Central Arkansas and Louisiana and UMass. Like they're kind of piling up. Zion Young had a ton of pressures against South Carolina, but South Carolina's offensive line also not very good. Alabama's offensive line is just a different beast than anything that Missouri has played against this year. So I'm really interested to see just how well those units match up against each other and whether, this Missouri's defensive end room got a lot of talk during the offseason about being one of the most skilled groups on the roster. And I'm interested to see how they stack up against a very legitimate offensive line.
Oh man, yeah, because like it's an interesting position battle. The Alabama offensive linemen going up against the defensive linemen in Missouri.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Especially out on the edges there. I think that's kind of the primary spot that I think can make a pretty big difference in this game.
Well, and I wonder how that Missouri offensive line's looking. Like it seems to be doing all right.
It was a struggle through the first couple of games. They replaced 60%.
That's how I gave it away. It was like,
yeah, they replaced 60% of the offensive line from last year, and did an all right job in the transfer portal at the spot, but they had a competition at left tackle going into the season. Ended up taking preseason All-American left guard Caden Green and moving him out to left tackle about 2 weeks before the year started, which caused some issues in week 1 just because Caden Green hadn't played tackle in 2 years, or since the start of his true freshman season at Oklahoma. And it was kind of consistently getting better week to week. And then Caden Green suffered an injury right before the South Carolina game and missed that game and the UMass game. Now against South Carolina, the line played pretty well. I was a little worried because South Carolina does have 2 pretty legit defensive ends, Dylan Stewart and Brian Thomas, and attacking a backup left tackle seemed like a good opportunity for them. The Tigers did a lot of really interesting stuff to scheme help blocking wise for left tackle Javen Richardson. I know I looked back and like the first 2 plays, they had their primary blocking tight end going in motion from the slot on the right side, just so he'd be running at left tackle as the ball was snapped and could help. And then the third play had an extra running back stay in on pass protection. And then the fourth play moved Javen Richardson over to tight end on the right side, had a regular tight end at left tackle, and then ran off to the right to kind of heavy set that way. And I could see them doing a lot of kind of interesting scheme stuff like that again this week. It's possible Caden Green could be back. He's getting some reps. Got some what Drinkwitz called rehab reps yesterday and is on the field today. So he'll be listed as questionable on the SEC availability report. I'm not sure. I think if he's not 100%, the better move for Missouri would probably be to start Javen Richardson and just scheme up that help the way that the Tigers did against South Carolina instead of throwing Green out there at 90% or something and expecting him to hold up on his own.
oh, agreed. And Setzo is saying, I don't care about nothing but the Thai Blitz, baby Blitz. I'm just waiting for the Disco Inferno song cue. Like Disco Inferno, burn, baby, burn, da da da. And Zachary Will just says our outside containment is getting better with each game we play. Yeah. But we'll be going over the players to watch next. But here's one question I gotta ask. You know a guy that can make some pretty good predictions, Kyle?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I know a guy.
Oh, who's that?
And he's a doppelganger of Mark Rogers.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
And when you go with the under-the-radar picks to wait with Steve Merrill, you're guaranteed to get the best of the best, especially when you add them to your parlay. And you'll get the best of the best from Steve Dace from the Michigan Podcast, Matt Zemek from Trojans Wire, USC Primetime Live, Tuesday nights on USC at the Voice of College Football, and College Wire at USA Today. And the magic that Corey Bratta brings out from the Hawkeye, the Storm. And, of course, the man himself, Mark Rogers, bringing out that magic. And the top 25 that actually makes sense. Sunday afternoons on the Voice of College Football and his top-notch predictions. And I got to say, I believe it's at like 70 to 75%. Like that's the winning percentage of his predictions. I mean, me personally, I'm going with Mark Rogers' predictions for picks, and you should too. All righty, and we've got the key players to watch for on Alabama, Missouri on Saturday at noon Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Central Time. And for those that haven't been watching the Missouri Tigers, Kyle, who are the guys we need to look out for on offense exactly?
The big one is running back Ahmad Hardy. I mean, he's been just fantastic. I can't tell you the reaction.
I won't Hardy har at that one, that's for sure.
It's kind of hard to describe the reaction he gets in the press box just about every time he touches the ball because it's fantastic. He leads the country in missed tackles force, yards after contact. He was something like third or fourth in the country last year in missed tackles forced, especially if you only go with guys who played 12 games or numbers through 12 games. And it was behind Ashton Jonty. You know, I mean, he was at that level, at a lower level of competition at Louisiana Monroe, but he's continued that level of production at Mizzou. And I'm excited to see what he's able to do against more SEC opponents. He had a fantastic game against South Carolina already. I think it was about 135 yards and a touchdown where it looked like he was fully stopped and flipped on his back on top of a defender and just turned over and ran through another defender immediately. So what he's been able to do is fantastic. The primary receiver to look out for is Kevin Coleman. He played for Mississippi State last year, I think was third team all SEC, got close to 1,000 yards and has been just a great kind of outlet for quarterback Bo Pribula, especially kind of on shorter routes. He's primarily in the slot and does a lot of kind of crossers or quick routes into the flat, that type of situation. And then I mentioned Bo Pribula. He's the quarterback. He's been incredibly accurate, but a little bit mistake prone. He's still new to starting games. He was at Penn State the last 3 years, was kind of the gadget quarterback the last two. So really the running option who would come in for Drew Aller once in a while. And this has been his first opportunity to play full games, you know, so he's really played 2 full games and started 3 games that he sat the fourth quarter in because they were cupcake opponents. So he's still kind of learning on the fly a little bit about what it takes to start. But those mistakes have been a couple of interceptions. He had the fumble I mentioned against Kansas and then an interception each of the past 3 weeks. And they tend to come from him trying to do a little bit too much. Maybe extend a play a little bit too long, try to force a throw into tight coverage. His confidence has grown quickly because he's been very successful, and that's led to maybe a little bit of overconfidence at times. But like I said, that's still just kind of the learning on the fly, figuring out what he is and isn't capable of doing in each situation. And I think my expectation is he'll continue to improve.
Oh man, like I can't wait to see more magic from Bo. Like that's gonna be cool.
He's been really good. I mean, there was a little worry coming into the season because he hadn't really thrown the ball in a college game much. I mean, he had like one half that he played for Penn State because Aller got hurt against, it was either Wisconsin or Nebraska last year. So Bo played the second half and played really well, which was kind of the tape that made him an attractive target in the portal this offseason. And yeah, I mean, he's made a lot of throws that kind of, just put you on the front of your seat and you just go, wow, I haven't seen a Mizzou quarterback make that type of throw in a while. It's a little different than what Brady Cook was able to do the last couple of years.
Oh man, like I think like LT Overton can put a ton of pressure on Prebula. But it's gonna be scary for Prebula because he'll be going up against Overton, London Simmons. I mean Simmons, now he's a great dude right there. Like he's a massive one.
Yeah, I expect Bama should probably get a good amount of pressure on Prebula. There's the issues with the Mizzou offensive line mixed with Bama having probably the best defensive front seven that they've played so far. There's going to be moments where Prebula's under fire for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean Hardy, he's definitely got to look out for, and like you said, Coleman Jr.'s a guy to look out for. Mm-hmm. But how are you feeling about the offensive line? Like, for those that are just tuning in on this clip of players to watch, who are the guys to look out for on offensive line?
So the primary offensive line this week will be probably Javen Richardson at left tackle, Dominic Jadis at left guard, Connor Tollison at center, Curtis Piegler at right guard, and Keegan Trost at right tackle. Left tackle might be Caden Green if he's healthy. If he's healthy, Caden Green's the one to know. He's the guy who, if he comes back from the injury that he suffered a couple of weeks ago and plays pretty well throughout the rest of the year, he could leave after his true junior season and probably be a relatively high NFL draft pick. He's got the body, got the strength, whatever you want to look for out of a tackle. He just needs to kind of continue to show that he can play tackle because he was at guard the last couple of years. He was stellar at guard last year, and looked to be kind of playing better at left tackle before the injury. But that the interior group, I like the names. I mean, Dominic Jadis has been in college football for a long time. This is kind of his first opportunity to really start. He was a transfer from Michigan. Connor Tollison has been Mizzou's starting center for 4 years. And Curtis Piegler, this is his first opportunity. He got that job when the Tigers moved Caden Green out to left tackle from left guard because they moved Jadis from right guard to left guard. Opened up the spot at right guard. Curtis Piegler moved in. And then Keegan Trost has been fantastic. He transferred from Wake Forest and has been really, really good. According to PFF, he's one of the higher graded tackles in the country pretty regularly the last few weeks.
Man, and the guys that we need to look out for on defense, who are they exactly?
As a pass rusher, it'd be Damon Wilson and Zion Young. They're both top 5 in pressures across the country this year. So been very good, but as we've talked about a couple times, against lesser opponents and offensive lines that are not going to be as much of a challenge as Alabama's. And then the biggest one who might jump off the screen at you is Josiah Trotter at linebacker, number 40. He transferred from West Virginia, was a freshman All-American last year, and has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, he leads the team in tackles for loss. He's just got a nose for finding his way into the backfield, especially on running plays. Has had a little bit of trouble in coverage when the Tigers have asked him to drop back a little bit. But he's a huge reason why the Tigers' run defense has been as good as it has been this year.
Oh man, like Trotter has just been amazing. Like, wow.
Yeah, he's been fantastic.
Man, I don't want to go against him. He'll chew me up like a chicken nugget. I tell you what.
He's a big dude. He's one of the intimidating guys when he stands in front of the media, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, good grief. It's like, I don't want to get on his bad side.
No, definitely not.
Nope. But of course, like the Bama players to look out for, as always, are Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton, because Horton hears the Tide calling for him. So it's like, how there's Horton hears who? Well, now we call it Horton hears the Tide.
Okay.
So and Joel Klatt basically calling Ty Simpson Ty Manning, but that's so funny right there.
I did see that.
Yeah,
I think Simpson and Ryan Williams could be set up for a pretty big day. I was talking earlier about the issues with deep coverage for Mizzou, and I think Williams is exactly the type of receiver that could cause them a lot of issues if the communication problems in the secondary, like I was talking about, haven't been resolved.
Oh man, and Jam Miller's definitely a guy to look out for. I mean, it's like every time Alabama's gotten their running game up, that's been helping.
Mm-hmm.
That was a massive key against Vanderbilt right there. Like Ty Simpson getting his game going and Jam Miller getting his game going. Like, oof.
Yeah, I mean, if Alabama's able to effectively run the ball, I think the Tide will look. I mean, I don't know about dominant, but that will be a huge step to winning the game, is if Alabama is able to effectively run the ball like it looks like they were able to against Vanderbilt, because that's such a key to Missouri's defense. Like, I'm fairly certain Alabama is going to be able to throw the ball very well. If they're also able to run pretty well, that means Mizzou's not getting many stops.
No. Yeah, because I'm looking at the stats from Alabama against Florida State. We had 87 rushing yards, right? And that was a big key as to why. That was one of the big keys as to why we lost. And then you got 212 rushing yards against Louisiana Monroe. I mean, I get it. It's Louisiana Monroe. You got Wisconsin, and we had 72 rushing yards. Not good, but okay. And Georgia, we had 119 rushing yards total. Way better than against Wisconsin. But then last week, 146 rushing yards, especially 136 from Jam Miller. And Coach Burt's asking, what are they going to do when Proctor lines up a quarterback? It's like,
I thought about asking that in Drinkwitz's press conference today, because Mizzou hasn't seen a running back or a quarterback that size. So, that would be a bit of a different look. He'd probably be hard to bring down.
Oh, man. And Zachary says Simmons is a stud and only a freshman. No doubt about that. I mean, like, bro has stepped up has done a huge job stepping up this season, especially when we've had injuries this season. James Smith on defense is definitely a guy to be looking out for. Because it sucked that we didn't have him last week in the first half because that targeting call against Georgia. But then he comes back, for the second half. Boom, we're rocking and rolling. I mean, that whole defense shut out Vandy in the second half.
It seemed like the run defense really locked it down in the second half against Vanderbilt.
100% Cuevas is an X factor right there. It's like, man, he's been huge. I want to see if we'll see some more big man plays from Proctor, kind of like how we did against Georgia and Vandy. Like that'll be fun to see. Who knows? Maybe they'll put it in the top 10 plays for Sports Center. So there's that. But I'm excited about the players to watch for. But I will keep my eye on Ahmad Hardy.
He's definitely the big one.
I don't want to get on his bad side. I'm not going to make him mad. But I'm not going to underestimate him either. Alrighty, so we've got the keys to victory to look out for from Alabama and Missouri. And I want to start off for Missouri with you, Kyle. What are the keys to victory for the Missouri Tigers? And if Missouri wins this game, it'll be the first time since September 8th of 1975. And prior to that, the last time Missouri beat us was the 1969 Liberty Bowl. And 1969 was a fun year for everybody, where everybody was making peace and love, but it was not peace and love for Alabama. But it was peace and love for Missouri that day in the 1969 Liberty Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama's the last SEC team that Mizzou hasn't beat as a conference opponent, I'm pretty sure. And I think the keys to victory for the Tigers look the same as they have through these first handful of games. It's just doing it against a much tougher opponent. But running the ball, stopping the run, and making sure the communication issues in the secondary have been worked out. Kind of the key to every game so far for Missouri has been just control the clock as much as possible. They're averaging about 39 minutes of possession time, which wild that they're almost doubling up opponents. But again, pretty easy schedule so far. So yeah, doing kind of that same thing. Run the ball a lot, control the clock, and stop Alabama from running the ball. I'm pretty sure Ryan Williams and Ty Simpson's going to have a big game. So it's going to come down to getting stops some other way, and that's going to be stopping the run.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, you got to stop the run. I mean, that's key for both teams right there. Yeah. I mean, like Florida State made sure to put a ton of pressure on Ty Simpson, and they put a stop to the running game. Like, shoot us up big time. But, of course, like you said, you have to put a stop to Ahmad Hardy. You do that, you're good to go. You'll be more than good to go.
Yeah, and there would need to be some pretty big adjustments to what Mizzou's offense wants to try to do if Ahmad Hardy's having a bad day, because we haven't seen what that looks like yet.
No, because I'm going ahead and looking at Missouri's schedule so far, and there's that South Carolina game, and yeah, y'all won 29-20, but I see 171 passing yards from Bo Perbula, and I see Norfleet and Johnson on that lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And they had an all right game. And then there's that Kansas game I'm going ahead and looking at. Perbula had another great game himself. So if Ahmad Hardy can't be able to get it done, can Jamar Roberts do it?
He's also been fantastic. I mean, he came in when Mizzou played at Bama last year and had 72 yards to lead the team. He was kind of the only part of the Tiger offense that worked in that game, especially once Brady Cook went out with his hand injury. He's looked great. I mean, I kind of thought coming into the year that he'd be a fine backup and kind of a 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of run right at you and get stopped type of back. That's not what he's been. I mean, he's shown some good breakaway speed in the Kansas game. He had the dagger, I think 50+ yard touchdown run right at the end where he was getting away from people, and he's broken a lot of tackles too. I mean, he's kind of clearly learned from Ahmad Hardy's rushing style and incorporated a good amount of it into his game to the point where it's occasionally hard to tell which one of them has the ball. They wear 20 and 29, which is not the easiest numbers to tell apart from a press box. And they run so similarly now that Jamal Roberts has had a couple runs where he runs through a guy and I go, there goes Ahmad Hardy again. And then he gets up from the tackle. I'm like, wait, that's number 20. Oh man. So he's been really good. They've been an excellent 1-2 punch together. And yeah, I mean, if Ahmad Hardy is getting stopped, I think the Tigers will try with Jamal Roberts, certainly. They feel similar to me in a way where if you are able to stop one, you probably have the formula to stop the other. But having them both has been a fantastic part of the Mizzou offense so far.
Oh, man. And Zachary brings up an excellent point about how Alabama has been able to control the time of possession as well. I mean, that was another huge reason as to why Alabama beat Vanderbilt, because we beat them 37 minutes to their 23 minutes. And, that is a humongous key to this game is time of possession.
Yeah,
you get absolutely. That controlled, you're good.
Yeah, I'm usually not a huge proponent of time of possession shows dominance because I went to Oklahoma State for college, so in the better years than the past couple, and they would often lose.
Sorry, Cody Stovall locked on Oklahoma State.
Yeah, but they would often lose or be close to tied on time of possession, but still win by a couple of scores while I was there because they would hit on an explosive play or two, right? So if you're able to do that or you get a defensive touchdown, time of possession doesn't tell the whole story. But the way that Mizzou has played, and I'm sure the way that, especially in the Bama Vanderbilt game, played out, that time of possession really makes a huge difference because, especially for Mizzou, they're not often hitting on the explosive plays. It's just grinding down the field, converting third downs, staying on the field on offense as much as possible, and keeping the clock churning by running the ball. So it's just, I think it's these last 5 games for the Tigers have kind of changed how I view time of possession overall, but it very much has to do with kind of the style of play that's happening.
Oh, yeah. And I'm wondering if Coleman Jr. can play a huge part in this victory because I can't help but feel like he can anyway. Because you mentioned earlier on this show that he was 13th in the SEC last season. And it was in receiving.
He was third team at all SEC.
Third team.
Yeah, third team. Yeah, I think he was top 5 in yards at least. He was kind of the only part of that Mississippi State offense that worked last year. So the volume is down for him this year because there are more options that work for Mizzou's offense. It's not just throw it to Kevin Coleman and hope something happens the way Mississippi State's offense was at times last year. But I mean, when he's on, he has a fantastic day. And a lot of it has been, you brought him up for the Kansas game. That was kind of his coming out party with Mizzou. He had a fantastic day that day, and a lot of it was get him the ball in kind of short yardage and let him make a man miss because he's shifty.
He was Mr. Bulldogs that day.
Yeah. And then he had a really nice game against UMass because UMass was lining up pretty far off the line, trying to stop deep passes, which just left, the short opportunity, 5-8 yard passes wide open. So Bo Prabila was just taking what the defense gave him and dumping it off to Kevin Coleman again and again and again. I don't expect that to be what Alabama does. I think Alabama probably doesn't have to choose quite as much as UMass does. Let's put it that way. They can just line up and be better than UMass is. I think that's a pretty fair statement. So I think Kevin Coleman will be an integral part of what Mizzou wants to do on offense. If he's shut down or if Alabama chooses to kind of focus in on him, Brett Norfleet at tight end has been another kind of really solid short dump off option. I think he's kind of one of the hidden gems at tight end in the conference. He's not a huge name, but he's been really good kind of since he stepped on the scene as a freshman. And Mizzou's finally using him more effectively. The Tigers have not been great at using tight ends under Eli Drinkwitz, to the point where Brett Norfleet, if he gets about 60 yards in this game, is going to already have the best tight end season for a Tiger under Drinkwitz, because it was only like 330 yards or something. And then you mentioned Marquise Johnson. He's kind of the speedier outside guy, to the point where his nickname is Speedy. He's the take the top off the defense guy. And we haven't seen that a bunch. The first Mizzou drive of the season ended with a 49-yard touchdown to him. And then after that, it kind of hasn't shown up again. His route tree has expanded a lot this year, which has been nice to see. That was a big part of him stepping into a bigger role. But if he is to be a standout player in this game, I think it's because he beats a corner in, press coverage or something and gets over the top.
Well, and I know Trotter can play a huge part in a Missouri victory if Mizzou was to win, and Hubbard can play a huge part in an Alabama victory. Right there. I mean, like Brady Hubbard, man, bro's been a team leader. I tell you what.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially if Hubbard can come away with a turnover, if Mizzou, like it has the last few games, makes a rough mistake in a turnover, or that a mistake that ends in a turnover, that could be, one of the key differences in the game. They didn't make a huge difference when they happened against Louisiana and UMass, right? Because it's Louisiana and UMass. But if there's a similar mistake that kind of hands Alabama the ball in the red zone the way it did in those two games, that's going to be a pretty huge momentum moment.
There we go. All righty. Now we get to the part where we end the show with some score predictions for Saturday, with Joe Tessitore and Jesse Palmer on the call on ABC at Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah, I've made my prediction in a couple of places, and I feel pretty good sticking with it. I've said Alabama by a score. It's kind of to a point. I think this will be a much better game than recent matchups between Mizzou and Alabama, but the Tigers haven't beat Alabama as an SEC opponent, right? And until they do, I'm not going to run around picking them to do it. So they got to show me that they can before I say that they can. So I'll say Alabama 38-31.
Oh, there we go. That high-scoring affair could be a shootout between Bo Prabula and Ty Simpson. And
I do think the way the strengths and weaknesses of each team line up kind of tends itself to be a little higher scoring than each of these teams is used to. I think, Mizzou's strength is running the ball. Alabama's weakness so far has been defending the run. Mizzou's weakness is defending the pass. Alabama's strength has been passing game. I think that kind of tends itself toward a higher scoring affair than either team has really experienced much of this year.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta put, we'll have to make sure we put a stop to Hardy, because he is no joke.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just gonna be interesting to see this one, and we're gonna have to see what Missouri will do against Alabama. But it just feels like a shootout is coming for both offenses.
I think so. I think it lines up to kind of play out that way.
Oh, no doubt. And honestly, for me, I'm going to go with Alabama in this one, where it's going to be a 35-27 victory over Missouri. That's what it kind of feels like to me.
I think that's fair. Like I said, around a one-score game. I mean, with the lines down to 3-ish, I think a one-score game is pretty fair. And like I said, I'm not going to run around picking Mizzou until they show me that they can beat a team like Alabama, because they just haven't really had an opportunity to this year.
No, like no doubt. Like that Kansas team gave Missouri a hard time until like the tail end of the fourth quarter. So it was like, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, and if Mizzou makes the type of mistakes that it did against Kansas, it won't end up close in this game. I mean, Alabama will be better able to take advantage than Kansas was.
So for those tuning in on this clip on Alabama with the Voice of College Football, Kyle has Alabama winning 38-31, and I've got Alabama winning 35-27. And it's going to be a wild ride on Saturday. Going to be a fun one, too.
Yeah, I expect so. I'm looking forward to it.
And just kind of like looking back at it now, it's like, it's weird to look at it as a conference game, but what's even weirder now is Rutgers USC is a conference game. Let that sink in.
My favorite example is always Stanford, the well-known Atlantic Coast school. That's the one that sticks in my head a lot.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. But, well, Kyle, what have you got going on in your world at Mizzou today, good buddy?
Just a bunch of content. I mean, we're churning stuff out over here. I tend to put out 3 to 5 stories a day on our site. If you're interested in Mizzou content, come look us up. Give us a try. We're $1 for the first week. That's a cross On3 promotion, and you get access to everything that's put out on On3. So you can read all the stories. You can go around, check out other teams' forums and boards and stuff, and just have fun with it. We'll have an episode of our podcast, the Mizzou Today Show, out tomorrow. So we're just making sure people are as informed as possible on Mizzou sports.
Any special guests we're going to be expected to see on Mizzou today?
We're trying to work something out. We'll see. There's a lot of people who are pretty busy during our recording time, so we're trying, but it might just be me and my recruiting editor, Kenny Van Doren, the way it has been the last few weeks. And if so, I think we can still put out a great show.
I bet there's a kitten somewhere that you can find that'll do like a sad face on cue.
Perfect. Yeah, that'll get us a lot of views.
There you go. Then the squeeze sound effect comes. So there we go. So tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at Publix about the magic that Kyle is creating on Mizzou Today at On3. And check him out on X at Kyle_McCaffrey.
You had it right at the beginning. McAree.
Oh, crud. I missed.
That's okay.
McAvery. It's like, oh, man. It's like, I swear that's going to be a running gag of this episode. I swear. Like, we break the fourth wall here on Alabama with the Voice College Football. But I will say, so check him out on X, where he creates some magic for Mizzou Today with Kenny and friends. And you can check me out on Jackson Johnson 979, where I've got numerous episodes of the Jacksonian coming up, including our guy Gabriel Pickup from Rutgers at the Voice of College Football and NBA trade news and rumors. We'll be talking a lot about the NBA season coming up real soon, and the Rutgers football season, how it's doing so far, and much, much more, including how depressing it is to be the Jets and the Mets. Like, good grief. It's like Charlie Brown at the pitcher's mound. It's like, it's so depressed. Like, Eeyore's happier than that bunch. But it's like, I mean, you'd be happier too if you weren't the Jets. But, oh man. But, of course, you can check me out on the Jacksonian, Pets Analysis, and the Final Whistle with our good buddy, Sports Talk with Austin. And for more updates, what I've got going on, Alabama with the Voice of College Football, the Jacksonian, Jackson's World College Football, Locked On West Virginia with Mountaineer Paul, and the once, twice a week calls on the Paul Feinbaum Show, where the weekends are full of surprises. Check me out on Jackson VOCFB on X/Twitter and on Instagram and Threads at JacksonJohnson543-908. And you can check out Coach Smook Hines on Coach Smook at the morning call-in shows and the night call-in shows that he does. And you can check him out here on Alabama with the Voice College Football. He was not able to make a day, apparently, because I think it was traffic or something like that. But I mean, that rain, like, it's messy over in Alabama. Oh, I hate rainy weather. I hate rainy weather. But of course, you can also check out Jeffrey at Only Talk Sports, where he talks sports every single day, or at least he tries to, on Only Talk Sports, and all right here on Alabama with the Voice College Football. Mondays on Crimson Tide Live, Thursday nights on the call-in show as we take your calls on the Crimson Tide Thursday nights. And with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell to Alabama with the Voice College Football so you never miss another video whatsoever. But wait, there's more. We've got the merch store. We already showed you merch store, but one other thing we hadn't showed you, the YouTube membership tiers. For $2.99 a month, you can become a Crimson Faithful member, where you'll have a loyalty badge next to your name in the comment section, and custom emojis to use in the comments in the live chat, and you get member shoutouts. And note to self, I need to add a black hoodie to the custom emojis, because every time Kalen DeBoer wears the black hoodies, he's always winning, folks. He's always winning. And for $4.99 a month, you can become a Saber Disciple, where you'll have priority replies to comments and access to a monthly hangout from yours truly, Jackson Johnson, Jeffrey at On Talk Sports, and Coach Mick Hines. And for $9.99 a month, you can become a Bear Bryant legend, where you can connect on social media with each of us and give out content requests of any kind. And neither rain nor sleet nor snow nor the miserable rainy weather in Bama, or whatever weather it's going to be, will not put a stop to us from fulfilling your content request, all right here on Alabama Voice College Football. And you can check us out on audio on Spotify, Amazon Podcast, Apple, and iHeartRadio. And with that being said, we wish you all a happy, happy, happy Tuesday night. Good night. Like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss another video. And we will see you soon. Good night, everybody. And roll Tide!